Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
Welcome to this week's episode of First and Goal. This week we've got Primetime 000. We've got MikeFML on 10 minutes notice. We've got Figs on 9 minutes notice. And we've got Raiderfan, and I don't know how many beers in he is, but I think we're all on notice. So
19 beers.
With that, we'll just get started while Raiderfan hasn't passed out yet. Topic one, if you guys could build your own dream combination of a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver, what three guys from the SML would you take? And we'll start with you, Prime.
Yeah, I think this is easy. Obviously, quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Raiderfan is obviously dominating with Patrick Mahomes, and because he's a perfect mix of being able to pass and run. He's not Lamar Jackson, who I feel can ruin your passing skills because you look to run. You see MIT, who was a mediocre passer. Now he's a below average passer, a bad passer because he looks to run so much with Jackson. Mahomes, you still want to pass with first. Running back wise, if I'm constructing a team, I'm going to go with Edens because he's so young. He's entering his second year. He's over 90 overall already, which is insane. I think he had 7 dev boosts at the end of the season. That's just stupid. He was spammed to death. He's elite. And receiver-wise, I would say DK, but I'm going to stay away from the Colts, and I'm going to say anybody from Denver. They got like 5 superstars. I could close my eyes and pick one, and they'd be the best receiver on anybody's team in the league.
Yeah, they didn't really help him last night, but they are definitely pretty good. Mike, what do you think? What would be your top 3?
I'm going to be super boring here. I'm going to say, I think it's pretty obvious with the quarterback Mahomes. If anybody takes anybody other than Patty Mahomes, they're kind of crazy. I do disagree with Prime. I don't know how much Raiders going to do with that, but I wish him luck, and I hope that he does well. Halfback, Bomber, you can attest to this. I had Edens as my number 1 guy last year in the draft. Mm-hmm. He's the first halfback I saw that I really graded out well and wanted to take. So going to go Edens to be born right there. Wide receiver, you can toss it up. It's kind of your preference there, but I think Henry Ruggs would be the best option there just because he's younger than Tyreek Hill, your other speed guy, but he also doesn't have, let's say, the off-the-field drama that Tyreek has had in the past.
All right, Figs, what do you think?
Patrick Mahomes, obvious choice.
So not Sam Darnold? Okay.
Yeah, I think anyone but who I go with.
Isn't there a good quarterback in Miami?
Be better. But, Patrick Mahomes, he can obviously throw it as far as he wants, run the ball pretty decent. So I think that's kind of the obvious choice for everyone. And then wide receiver, I'll pair him up with Tyreek Hill, fastest guy in the game. And you know how I wanted to trade for a fast receiver, kind of try to overpay it, but Tyreek Hill, and then running back, I feel like any rookie, like there's like 3 solid rookies that came out just this past season. I feel like any of them, but I go with Bayless from the Ravens, partly because I think if I didn't get Dobbins, he was going to be the guy I end up getting, so I think I go with Bayless.
So basically next year's Chiefs, you want Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and a rookie running back. I got to assume he's going to take one. Yeah. All right, Raider, what do you think? What's your top 3?
I went with the basic answer, Patrick Mahomes. He's the all-around guy. Everybody already said all the strong points. I agree with Mike FML. Henry Ruggs is the building block receiver-wise. Tyreek Hill is getting up there in age, and he's a stupid bitch because he plays with the Chiefs. So Henry Ruggs, he's the guy. He's a Raider. He's young. He's blazing fast, and he's a Raider. And then running backs, I don't care about youth. I go with Saquon Barkley. He's got all the intangibles. He's the running back I would depend on to run my team, run the ball, that kind of stuff.
Nice to know that Raider fan doesn't care about youth at all, but then cares about youth at receiver, doesn't care about youth at running back, a more grueling position.
To be fair, Saquon's like 27. It's not like
he doesn't. Old. That wasn't the point, Mike. That wasn't the point.
Just saying, man.
All right, Prime a little testy tonight, so we'll move on to topic number 2. Best position to user. So we just watched RD win a Super Bowl, and one thing I noticed about RD, he's one of the few guys in the league that likes to use her as safety. What do you guys think? What's your favorite position or best position you think to use her? And Mike, we'll start with you this time.
I'm one of the few that doesn't have a specific position I have to use her. I like to bounce between depending on what my coverage dictates. So if I know I need to cover a tight end in the slot, I'm going to play linebacker. If I need to watch a corner route, I'm going to play a little bit of nickel corner, and I'm on the safety quite a bit too. So personally, for me, if I had to choose one, I'd say I'd probably lean safety, and that's where I think that you can make the most impact because you can cut off the most number of routes. But I think the best answer is whatever the weakness is that you're presenting to the offense right now.
All right. Figs, what about you?
I think safeties, if you're good, that's where you go. And I rarely go with the safety because every time I do it, someone just gets a touchdown on me. So, I mean, for me, I don't think it's like, I think for people that are actually good, I think safety's a good spot to go. For me personally, I feel like I'm best at using a cornerback. I rarely do it, but I started to do it a few games this past season, and I've been able to take out, I pretty much shut down Ruggs when I used him the whole game. So for me, I think cornerback I do the best at, but I think safety, if you're actually good, that's where you should go.
All right. Raiderfan, how about you?
For my answer, I'd put I wish I knew, but I'm like Mike. I like to jump around from different positions. I don't mess with corner. That's nothing good there could happen. And then linebacker, if I think if I play linebacker, they're probably going to get a touchdown, even if they're on the 1 yard line. So defensive tackle, I like that. So I don't really have a good answer. As y'all can see, I'm the worst.
All right, Prime.
Yeah, I think that safety, if you're a good user, like Fig said, is the way to go. There was a reason why season 1 we had to make the Dan rule, because he had like 8 safeties on the field. It was easily the animations you get. It's just OP because linebackers, they don't get the super jumps unless if they have lurker. I think that sub linebacker, if you have a safety that fits in the rules, you get the best of both worlds. You get the linebacker position and the safety position all in one.
Okay. All right, that's going to take us to our third topic. And third topic is going to be contenders or pretenders. So if you notice, the playoffs were stacked with a lot of new guys, not quite as many guys that have been around a while. Of those new guys, which ones do you think are going to stick around and be playoff contenders, and which ones do you think are going to kind of fall back to the middle of the pack when teams get used to them? Figs, we'll start with you.
See. I would say the Panthers. I feel like, they're trying to get Russell Wilson. I haven't been able to make a bid on him yet. But I saw he's trying to get Wilson. So he might be a little relevant this season, but I think going on beyond this season, he's going to kind of fall back a little. McCaffrey's getting older, so... Not McCaffrey. What's his name?
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, the running back there. He's getting older, so I think with him getting older beyond the season, it's going to be kind of tough for him to still compete.
All right, Raider, who do you think?
Well, my notes on this, I say the Muse, RD, and Faz and Death Wish are coming up. Guys that in my mind are kind of new are Pauly, Dan, and Bomber. They were new last year, and so now they are the stalwarts, the playoff guys. The guys that were the playoff guys before were like NYT, Future, Lawyer, Meats, Grams, Knowles, and Woods, and Terrible Two-Step. Those guys have really fallen off. Grams, Lawyer, Knoll, Woods, Terrible Two-Step. Dump, Meats, Future, and NYT, they're still in the mix, but they're fighting with like guys like Death Wish and Dan and Bomber who have made themselves permanent. And then Faz and Death Wish, the Muse, and RD, they're the newer guys. So it'll be interesting to see if Grams, Lawyer, Knoll, if they get to make a comeback to dominance.
All right. So do you have one that you think is going to fall back of the new guys?
I could see Faz being a fluke.
Okay. Faz, I'm sure we'll have something to say about that in chat. Prime, how about you?
Yeah, it was No, that's a good take. I think a pretender is probably D Muse. I know. Fig hit on that already. His play style, I think he plays the CPU. Probably doesn't make NFC Championship game if he doesn't. Not a very diverse play style. Going to be tough for him to make it back to the NFC Championship game. So I would say he's kind of a pretender. Also, SML, there's a really good guy, and you hate taking shots at him, but I would say Death Wish probably not going to make it back to the playoffs next season. Going to be tough for him too. Anyway, he's got a good defense, but his offense has some improvements, I think, before he can get to that next level. A legit guy who I think is here to stay out of the new guys, I would say is probably in the NFC. I would say is probably RD, who has the best shot of just through and through, just because his offense is a little more run the ball, make efficient passes. He's not super dynamic like say Faz or somebody along those lines. He's more dynamic, I think, tried and true.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, what do you think?
Everybody pretty much hit on it all. I was categorizing new guys as people that basically joined this cycle. So in my guys, I have some level of confidence in. RD is number one. I have a decade of history with him. I know what he can do on the field, so I know that he'll be around to compete for a while. I played D-Muse and QP. Nobody's mentioned him yet today. Mm-hmm. I played them both a lot in Primer. I've seen a lot of their work, so I feel relatively comfortable that they can compete. I don't know if either of those two are going to be making any deep runs moving forward, and especially winning any Super Bowls, but I feel pretty confident in those three at least staying up there and on par with the making the playoffs. In terms of regression, I think the obvious one Prime hit on is Death Wish. I played him a lot in Primer as well. I beat him pretty regularly, and y'all know my history and my track record in competitive play. So, anybody that I'm beating on the regular, I'm not going to look at as a playoff team long term.
All right, so that's going to take us to our fourth topic for tonight. Why is the NFC so boring? And we'll start with you, Raider. I'm sure you've got plenty of thoughts on this.
I don't really consider them that boring. I'm not sure what qualifies as boring. There's a Bomber does a lot of videos. He has a personality. You got Prime. But then Polly moving over, there's a lot of, hot air coming out of that particular area. But you got people like MikeFML in the NFC. He's always talking. You got Tiny. Then you got these. I think the NFC is very exciting. I don't see them as boring at all. You got RD. You have Demuse, Faz, and Fig. I think the NFC's got a lot of personality, and they shocked the whole league by taking out Dan. They've proven that the best the NFC has to offer isn't good enough to. The NFC has to offer isn't good enough to deal with them. The NFC's taking over the SML, and anybody who thinks that the NFC still owns it, well, they're just lying to themselves. And Dookie won it last year, so the NFC has taken over, and the NFC's in denial. I saw Prime shaking his head, and I'm going to hurt his feelings.
Yep, we're obviously going to go to Prime next. So, Prime, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on topic here, and we're talking. Why is the NFC boring, or is the NFC boring? And I think as people, Tiny, great guy. MikeFML, he's a little sassy. He's a sassy guy over there, but a lot of personality to him. Fig, great guy. But at the end of the day, I don't care to watch a MikeFML versus Fig football game like I want to watch a Bomber versus Prime football game if I'm a third-party guy, or a Bomber versus Dan, for example. And I think that they're just bad showmen. They're just bad showmen for their games, and that's why they're boring. They need a guy, and Paulie is interesting because he doesn't hype his own games up. Paulie doesn't hype his own. Like I say things. I have my rivalry with Bomber. I have my rivalry with Dan. Last cycle was Sunday with Gov, with Oshie, and Paulie doesn't do that. He hypes up other things. So I would say they need a guy who's good and who has Rowan's personality. And if you can have both of those, then you're in good shape. But they don't have a guy like that, so they struggle to sell tickets.
All right, and Figs, we'll go with you next.
I don't think we're really that boring. There's a lot of shit. It's pretty much all the shit stirrers in the NFC. Kind of makes things interesting. You got Rowan always liking the jab at me, he's kind of slowed down a little bit lately, but he kind of jabs at Prime, jabs at a little bit of everyone.
He had to slow down because he's 8-8.
Actually, he doesn't do that. And then you got Dump. He kind of likes to stir the pot a lot, put in some videos once in a while, kind of jabbing at Meats a lot. So I don't think we're boring. Maybe we could be better overall, like as playing, but I don't think we're really boring.
All right, Mike, what do you think? You look like you got something to say.
This is all about perspective, gentlemen. You guys are thinking way too small. You got to widen your approach here.
Rachel, can you help me?
Thanks, Raider. I appreciate that, bro. Dan and Bomber once played to a 6-3 game. Let's not pretend that every AFC matchup is going to be one for the record books. The NFC, what it lacks in consistency, it makes up for in the wild card aspect. You never know what you're going to get. Fig and I might play a garbage game where we throw 17 interceptions total, and we go in on the win. Somebody wins 48-42. And the next week, somebody's losing, probably Fig to Hova. These things, they happen, and it's not necessarily what the top tier players want to see, but it's entertaining for everybody else. So the top 3%, they can enjoy their AFC. They can keep doing their thing in private. Mostly just talking to Prime, Bomber, and Dan, because you guys are the three that stir the shit too much on there. But NFC is not boring at all. We got some good people there. We got some good players. We got the champion, and we got the better of the brothers that is back there now. That's you. So I'm happy where the NFC is at, and I think you guys just need to change the way you look at it.
So we agree Prime was wrong.
I want to rebuttal if I can, Bomber, if I can.
Unscored round, please.
And my rebuttal is let's compare this to the NFL. There's a lot of in the mid-2000s, for example. Did they show Sunday Night Football all the time? Was it Manning versus Brady, or was it like the Josh Freeman-led Bucks against the Tavares Jackson-led Vikings because it was a toss-up?
It just depends on what they want to see. That's a bad comparison. It's a bad example because
that's a perfect example because NFC you don't care who's going to win. You don't care who's going to win.
We can provide more firepower than those guys ever did. That's just the simple facts of the matter.
Okay, I'm not going to debate that point.
Jordan Love, my guy, has almost 80 touchdowns over the past 2 years. I might only have 8 wins total or something like that. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But we're putting on a good show. I can't say the same for every team out there. Chicago used to have a good quarterback. Hova's mostly down, but he's kind of doing some stuff now and again. And Tiny, you mentioned Tiny earlier. Tiny does his thing. He's Tiny. That is what it is. End of the day, we're not a boring conference. We're a great conference full of great dudes, and y'all just need to look at it better.
Stunner conference.
Jordan Love's done a great job. Over 30 interceptions every season, leading the Packers to 5-11.
That's how it goes, brother. We're consistently mediocre.
So I guess the real question is, will the AFC ever win a Lombardi again in this cycle?
I don't think so. I think we're cooked.
He's got Gilmore now, maybe.
I'm rooting for Bomber, but I'm really looking for the Prime shutout. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for that as well. So that's going to get you a bonus point. But we're actually going to do an extra point this week. So obviously we just had the Super Bowl. What were you guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl? And we'll start with Prime this time.
Oh man! All right, guys. I'm just gonna have to call it how I see it. I gotta give it the truth. I'm taking shots at Dan here. I know everybody's gonna be surprised by that, but I've got to do it. I'm getting DMs all the time about it, and it's got to be done. And before I start, this game was an upset. It was a big upset. You've got like 4 or 5 guys posting their screenshots. MikeFML's over there shaking his head. Graham's doing the same thing. But here's the deal. If you had $100 and you're going to put $100 on either player, would you honestly put $100 on RD over Dan, knowing that Dan studies, knowing that Dan's got the super team, and knowing that Dan was 18-0? I mean, that was an upset. Now, were you surprised? Maybe not by the result. It wasn't that surprising because RD does match up well against Dan with his running game. Now, that said, my takeaway from the game was that Dan, not a big game player, couldn't beat Sunday, lost to NYT, 16-0 twice, didn't win Super Bowl either season, couldn't get past QB, fat fingered versus Dookie, and now he's lost versus RD in a game he was heavily favored in. And I know guys are coming back and showing off, but they weren't talking beforehand. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, Mike, what do you think? What did you think about the Super Bowl?
You know, I mentioned in chat, Prime brought it up, so I'll bring it up again. There were about 5 or 6 of us that picked RD, and that was the majority of the people that picked RD because we have so much history with the guy. We played with him for years before the SML. We know what he can do. And, you know, in that particular matchup, I have no problem putting $100 on the line because I know the RD knows what he's doing, and I know that he was prepared. He might not be out in chats talking about it. He might not be building himself up. But behind the scenes, privately, I know that he's going to always be ready for an important game like that. He's been the most successful guy that I've played Madden with in my entire Madden career. That's counting you, Prime, because most of your sustained success was before I got there. So I can't really give you credit for that part there. But it's not an upset for me, and it's not an upset for anybody that knows RD. It's exactly what I thought. I thought he played a great game. I thought Dan struggled to rebound until it was too late. And at that point in time, you know, it came down to the mistakes that Dan made, and RD was able to capitalize.
All right, Figs, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, I figured it could go either way. I thought Dan was going to somehow pull it off. I feel like at the end of the half there, the first half, when it was 10-0, I hate settling for a field goal, but I feel like if he just settled for a field goal, which wouldn't really be good, but he settles for a field goal there, he makes some halftime adjustments, which we've seen him do plenty of times. 10-3, I feel like he's going to be able to pull it, at least have like a final drive left in him. He was down like 26. He pretty much had no chance after that 56. So, you know, I feel like he just kind of made too many mistakes, especially at the end of the half there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was a big swing there. He could have been tied since he scored on his first drive in the second half.
Yeah. RT's a great player. I only played him twice. I mean, obviously I'm not very good, but usually I can give most people a good game. But 2 times I played him, I think he beat me by it was like 40 each time. So Dan, on the other hand, I beat him once. I pretty much always give him a game. I felt like that game could go either way, but Dan kind of blew it at the end of the half and kind of really crippled him.
All right. And Raider, I'm sure you have thoughts. I don't know if they'll be about the Super Bowl, but go ahead and give us your thoughts.
A few weeks ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the heavily favored Kansas City Chiefs. They had all the advantages in their favor, much like many years ago when the New England Patriots played the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams, who had all the big names when then the Patriots had nobody. And both times, the underdog shocked the favorite. And I think that's what we saw the other day. Certain people didn't see RD as an underdog, saw him as a favorite, saw him as a dominant Madden player. We had blinders on. We saw the Patrick Mahomes, the Tyreek Hill. We saw the Dan dominance. But it was a great Super Bowl, and it was very art imitates life. You know what I mean? So I loved it.
All right. Well,
I'm just glad Prime wasn't in it.
That's gonna do it for this show. Unless Prime, you got something to say? It looked like you were ready.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one final thing about this Mike and Graham's thing, because it's a very loud minority of the 5 guys who voted on Dan. 5 guys voted for Dan, 17 did. I understand that 3 or 4 or 5 of them did play with RD, except for Tiny, who, I don't know, Jeez, did someone just get hit by a lawnmower? I don't know.
Tiny's in his division. Tiny sees the greatness on the field.
You're right. That could be. But my point is that just like a week ago, Dan was saying or Grams was saying how Dan's on the next level this year, and Mike's commenting on Dan's America's team or America's dream team or something. But then they're quick to post screenshots after they know they were right. That's all I got to say.
I know it was right from the beginning there, brother.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's show. And it's going to be Figs with 31, Prime with 32, Raiderfan with 32, MikeFML with 33. But Raiderfan gets 1 bonus point for each nipple he showed during the show, and that's going to put him at 34. Raiderfan, 30 seconds to rant are all yours.
Oh, man, I don't have a lot to say. I'm kind of a quiet guy. I'm a little reserved. And I'm very excited about this draft. I'm trying to pull off a blockbuster trade. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but I love this show. I hope I get to be on it again. And I only have 2 nipples, so I don't know how many more points I'll get next time. But maybe beer will help. So, everybody, that's all I got.
All right.
Just don't stand up.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, don't stand up. You get negative points for that. But,
Go ahead.
appreciate you guys being on here. I know a couple of you guys, very last minute, were able to get on the stream or the
Second
video.
place NFC North. You can always
Yeah.
depend on me.
So
It was a
definitely appreciate
train
that.
wreck.
And until next week, this has been First and Goal.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.